going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 22 of the Proven Knowledge Podcast, the Creators Series. Today I got one of my good friends out of the greater Atlanta area. His name is Rome Westfield. He's a hip-hop artist. Me and Rome have been working together for, I think, a year and a half now. We've had a few songs come out together. Obviously, it's been a great working relationship. He reached out on Twitter about potentially being on, some different podcasts and everything, and he wanted to get his name out there, so I hit him and was like, I'd love to have you on the show. And this week we made it happen and everything, and it was a pretty nice conversation. I have a lot of respect for Rome. He told his story about how he was kind of signed, I think 7 or 8 years ago, and he wanted to kind of break off from the group and do his own thing. And you can tell in the interview he's really, confident with his kind of his vision and what he has planned and everything, and he's been able to successfully conquer his goals and put out the music that he's been trying to put out and everything. And he had an album earlier this year called Disguised in Smoke, which I was happy to produce a couple songs for, but the album as a whole was really, really much better than, in my opinion, it was much better than a lot of his previous works, and you could tell he put a lot of time in it. So I can really hear it's kind of a testament to his journey. It's just he's finally figuring out his sound. He's finally figuring out who he wants to be as an artist, and he's putting out great quality music. And he has another album coming out. I believe it's going to come out next month, if not probably December. And he said that's even more refined than the last album, so I'm really looking forward to it. I've already heard a couple ideas from it, so I'm looking forward to hearing the finished product. But overall, this was a nice conversation. I was happy to get Rome on the podcast and kind of let everyone else see what a great individual he is. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Okay, welcome everyone to episode number 22 of the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series. Today we have an independent artist. He's a good friend of mine. We've already worked together a couple times. He's probably one of my favorite up-and-coming artists out of the greater Atlanta area. Rome Westfield is here. How are you, man?
How you doing, man? Appreciate the intro.
Yes. I gotta give everyone a proper introduction. So, for those that don't know you, might be hearing your name for the first time, kind of just give some background information about yourself, kind of how you got into music, all that good stuff.
I really started around 7th grade. I started with poetry, and then a friend of mine was me and a friend of mine was just all right, let's try to write songs, and we did it. And then I came across my uncle's music pad, and I was just dang, my uncle does music. And at that time I wanted to be like my uncle, so I was I'm gonna try it. So I started. I wasn't that great, but I didn't take it serious till around high school, around, I would say 10th to 12th. And then 12th grade was dang, I know what I want to do with my life.
So do you think that was kind of a maturity thing, just having to wait a little bit to kind of figure out oh, this is exactly what I'm trying to do? Do you feel like being older kind of helped you out a bit as far as that goes?
It definitely did, because at a young age, I thought about a lot of stuff. I was dang, I can do this, but it wasn't until something that caught my eye, which was music, and I was nah, this is my number one, because I skateboard too. I haven't skated in a minute though, but I was dang, I could be a pro skater, but nah, it was always something about the music that just caught my eye.
I know, as kids too, I think, you go through the stages of just, you kind of really don't know what you're trying to do. Some people are into sports and they do that.
Right, it's just, you're in everything.
Yeah. And I know for me too, it's kind of similar for me. Throughout high school, I was kind of shit, these 4 years are going to go quick. I kind of got to figure out, a little bit of what I'm going to have to be doing, because I don't want to just be sitting around doing nothing. So I feel being older, and by the time I got out of high school, I was ready to take.
Right, especially that senior year. That senior year really kicks you in the ass. All right, after this, it's either college or nothing.
And I know I even tried the college thing too, and I knew that wasn't gonna last long, because I was just I had no real reason to be there outside of just my mom wanted me to be in college and whatnot, and I was just I kind of just got to figure out what I want to do and what I need to do. So
see, I kind of took the easy route when I went to college. I went to college and I graduated, but I went to college for music. That's why I can, I'm sort of on the path to be a great independent artist because I learned how to, before I go to the studio, like my friend had a studio, my friend Kenton, he was just like, hey man, he'll record a song and then he'll ask me, he's like, so, what do you want on the song? And I was looking at him like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean? What do I want on the song? He's like reverb, delay. I'm like, I don't even know what that shit is. Then I go to school and I find out like, oh, this shit is this.
Yeah.
It makes, it gives the vocal a little bit more like resonance with you. It's like it doesn't sound too dry. It doesn't sound monotone. It sounds like a little wet, and it gives you like that sense of, oh dang, the vocals are all around me. So once I learned that, it was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
And that's good. I think that's just you figuring out like this is what I have to know, for what I'm trying to do. Some people I feel like they go to school and they just want to go for whatever reasons, and they might not be passionate about what they're trying to do. But as long as you're
right, because this shit does take passion. You can't. Yeah, there are the success stories of the people who do this shit overnight, and then it's like, boom, they're famous. But for people who actually grind it out, and the struggle, the path is really long.
People kind of underestimate that. I feel like a lot of the time they just look at like their favorite artist and think that just happened. Like there was no one else involved, and there was no hard work involved, and like.
Right, because. Like, who's an artist that you look up to, as far as like inspiration-wise?
Well, the person that kind of like started off like that I knew was like an artist and like a producer and someone great was Kanye. So, and like you gotta just like Kanye, and like I had to dig into that whole thing, and like you gotta look at like he was like living with his mom in New York, just trying to even get signed and like be taken seriously and selling his beats for like $50, you know what I mean? So it's not like he was just always this huge artist that everyone knows. Like there's always going to be a journey for everyone, even if we don't see it with our own eyes as like fans.
Exactly.
But I don't know. It's I feel like fans too. Like I think people like me and you who are actually trying to do what they've already done would kind of understand like what they went through. I feel like a lot of fans might not understand it because they don't have a frame of reference. You know what I mean?
Right, because they don't, man, I was doing a lot of shit before I am where I was now, where I am now actually, because I was signed to like an independent label before we started working together. We parted ways, and the first thing on my mind was like, fuck, now I gotta do this on my own. So I was like, I had my doubts. I was really thinking about quitting, but then I was like, nah, I can do this shit. So that's when I first, put together that whole album, Disguise and Smoke. And that was me hitting the ground running. I was like, all right, I'm going to make this album. I'm going to release it. No videos or nothing. Just see, see what the numbers do and see what people think. And shit, what do you know? I'm looking at it. I'm looking at numbers. I'm going overseas with some numbers. I'm just like, damn, this is crazy. And I really owe it to, like, I don't know if you know one of my producers, Northland JK.
Yeah, I see you tag him in a lot of your posts and everything.
He was the one who was like, if he was like, with or without the people you were just with, bro, you'll be good.
And that,
no, go ahead, what you say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that's like a testament to just the faith you have in yourself, too. Because without that, I don't think you'd be able to do any of that, you know what I mean? Like,
right, because I was scared as hell. I was like, fuck, I don't know. The family supports, but I was just like, I don't really have nobody in my corner, so I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to go off his word. I can do this, and look at me now. I said, our second album is really done. I just got to mix it.
Yeah, and like the first album, that intro, I forget what the intro was called. That was amazing. That was one of my favorite songs of this whole year, honestly. I forget who you had on that. Who do you have on that intro?
I had R&B Zoe. It's crazy because some of, like, 3 of those songs from the album I had been sitting on since when I was with the other label.
So like a few years probably.
Right, so it was Tales from the Dell, Speed Joe, and Stoner Girl. Those 3 songs were already like professionally mixed. Shout out to my man Bill Zimmerman. He mixed those 3 songs. Great dude. He was actually like my 3rd semester mixing teacher at the college I went to.
That's nice. That means you probably got a good working relationship then. You kind of just like hit him up and he'll kind of like get you what you need pretty much.
Right.
That's awesome. So another follow-up question that I kind of have been starting off with is just, I know that 2020 has been really place, especially like with the pandemic and everything. Has there been any like challenges for you personally that you've been trying to get through, or have you kind of been able to work through a lot of maybe obstacles that have come up for you in your personal life or your work life?
Personal life, yes. There's been a lot of money obstacles because, I work for, like, my actual day job. I work for a production company. And, we do varieties of stuff, like from movies to weddings, special events, all types of shit like that. So without that, I was just at home. But quarantine gave me a chance to, like, I literally finished this second album within, like, 3 to 4 months within this quarantine. So I was really just working. Like, I was making, like, songs. I made, like, over 20 songs within 2 weeks.
That just gives you the time, though. It's like, I think everyone had the time to kind of just create. And, like, I know a lot of people felt like they didn't have the inspiration to create. But I guess, like, it's good if you do have it, you can, like, really knock. That's kind of what I was doing around April and March, was just, like, knocking out ideas left and right and just trying to stay busy and active. Because I was like, I'm not gonna let this slow that down, because the only person that can slow that down is myself. So if I'm in charge of that, no one's slowing me down from that. So, like,
that's exactly how I felt, because I don't know, it's just like this album was easier than the first album, because the first album, it took me almost a year to get that together. This one took way less time. I knew what I had to do. I knew what I wanted to do, and I was just doing it. I was able to get like 3 solid features. One of the features on there is also from my little brother who wants to get into music, so that's pretty dope that I was able to get him on a song for this album.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think too, probably, like you just said, you made like 20 songs or whatever. That's probably you just getting more comfortable too with just the process of making music. Like, I feel like if the second album was easier, it's probably because you're a little bit more comfortable with yourself as an artist, and you're able to kind of get your vision out a lot easier. So
yeah, that definitely helped, like knowing myself. And then my girlfriend is also a great backbone when it comes to songs, because I play her stuff, so I need that, that opinion. And she's never shy to be honest. She'll tell me if she doesn't like it. She'll even be like, yeah, the song is nice, but I hate the hook. I'll be mad as hell, but I'll be like, all right, let me just go redo this hook.
It's good. I think it's good to get opinions from, like, not just like creators that we work with and everything, but people that are just listeners who know nothing about it, because they're the ones that are like the real consumers at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if they don't like it, like, you might actually want to change some stuff. But
like with the first album, we actually had her little sister and her sister's friend to listen to the album from top to bottom and see which songs they like. Her sister's very picky, so I was surprised that she liked a great deal of songs.
That's actually a really good idea, though, to do that.
Right, because, they're the younger crowd. The music is for the younger crowd. Exactly. The older generation just picks off of what the younger generation is doing. You know what I'm saying? Most older people, they don't listen to, like, Megan Thee Stallion, and that's what the younger people listen to. Then when the older people listen to it, if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people should try and do too. Like, if they want to kind of test their songs out to people before they put them out, and just be like, hey, like, come here, like, tell me what you think of this. Just like, even if they tell you it's bad, it's like, just kind of go tweak some things, maybe mess with some things.
Exactly, because you know what I'm saying. You never know what's a gem. Everybody can have one hidden gem, because it could be like, damn, this is terrible, but this song right here is, I don't know, this song right here is speaking to me.
I found that too, even with my artist. He tells me a lot. He'll be like, well, we put out all these songs. He's like, I thought this song was going to blow up, but it ended up being this other song that we didn't even think of. It was the song that people were talking about. So it's kind of like, as long as you feel good about it too, like, and you feel good about what you're putting out, I think people will gravitate towards, what they want to hear. So,
because I've definitely put out some songs that I thought, like, weren't going to get any attention, and then I'm looking at it like, damn, that's crazy. Like, for instance, the Batman Ferragamo song. Me and Northland sat on that beat for 2 years. Every time it came around, we was like, nah, it's not ready. And then I was just like, fuck it. Let's put it out. Let's see what people think. And I did what I did to the song, and then as soon as I put it out, people were like, yo, that Batman Ferragamo shit goes crazy.
It's almost like you were kind of overthinking it, I think, for a bit. And then you were just like,
We were, like, I don't know what the general concept of the beat was, because it was originally called Joyride.
Mm.
So I don't know what we were thinking. It's just we were looking at it, and we were making it together. So the way we work is he'll send me beats. I'll give him ideas. If I'm like, all right, I feel like this missing this, or I feel like this could go up some. I don't know. We were just overthinking it because we made it from scratch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found too, like, just from what I've made and the songs I've made, I try not to get too attached to, like, one particular thing. I kind of just am like, if we need to add things to it, you know, we'll come back and we'll do what we got to do. But, like,
right.
I just try and keep, like, creating the new ideas and everything. But I feel like sometimes we overthink a lot of things as far as, like, the creation process goes.
That's the same way I feel about songs. That's why, like, if I don't feel a song right away, I'll just be like, all right, I wrote a hook and I started writing a verse. I'll just come back to it later.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, speaking of, like, the creation process, would you say you're more comfortable just kind of writing things out for every song, or are you able to, like, freestyle certain beats, or, like, does it kind of change? Like, how's that go for you?
I'm actually glad you asked. So the last song I just dropped, which was September's Very Own, the song I released on my birthday, that whole song was a freestyle. I gave myself a challenge. I was like, Young Thug can do it. More artists out here can do this, where they just go into the booth and just make a song. Don't write nothing down. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to give it a try. It took about 2.5 hours to make the song, but it was going pretty quick because I was getting line after line after I wrote. As soon as I lay down the line, I get a line. It was just repeating. And then eventually I finished the song, and I was like, damn, I freestyled this whole song.
I know I've kind of noticed a lot more artists saying that they freestyle, like, whole albums and everything now. I think that has to do almost with the beats being a lot shorter too now. Like, a lot of beats are in, like, the 2 to 3 minute range instead of the 3 to 4 minute range nowadays. So
right.
I feel like that has something to do with it. To me, I'm not a rapper. I can't do any of this stuff, so I'm just speaking from, like, me listening to the people I like. I would say I really don't care if they freestyle, right, whatever they do, as long as it sounds of quality and it sounds like they said something of value, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it really ever matters.
I normally write, and you know what I'm saying? I write because that way I don't lose ideas. Because I listen to, like, if I'm in a writing, let's say I'm in writing mode, and I'm like, all right, I'm in album mode. So I write at least 4 to 5 songs a day if I'm in album mode. And I can't remember every line that I write for each song unless the line stands out to me. So I have to write. That's one of the reasons I write.
I've also heard, too, that people will write things down and they won't use them for the song they intended. They might use it for another song later on that fits it better. And they hear a different beat, and they'll be like, no, I could do something even cooler with this beat instead of the beat I had originally. So
I've definitely done that multiple times. Yep. There's a song on this album that has a hook that I used for another song that I wrote, but the hook was a lot longer, but I shortened it for this song.
It's kind of crazy how that happens, though. Like, things you would never expect, and things people, like, if you heard that song or, like, some of these other songs, you wouldn't really know the story behind it unless you heard it from the person. So that's awesome. Would you say, Rome, that you're more comfortable working in your house, like in your home, or are you a studio type of guy, or does it not really matter to you?
It doesn't matter to me. I can work anywhere.
Do you work out of one more than the other, you'd say, or are you kind of?
I work at home more than I work at like the studios, because I have my own home setup. I don't have time to waste time on other people and have them like, all right, you got like an hour, or you've been in here for like 2 hours. Don't, you know what I'm saying? The creative process has no limits.
That's always been my issue with studios. I have a few around where I am. They're like 20, 30 minutes away. And I always say, like, it'd be cool to go to the studios to meet new people and stuff, and I might still do that eventually. But as far as, like, I want to work at my own pace. I don't want to, like you just said, I don't want to wait on so-and-so. I got to pay them for this block of time. We got to be done by this certain time. Like, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of, kind of takes you out of your rhythm. It takes you out of your rhythm, honestly.
Especially if somebody's rushing you and they're like, all right, you got like an hour left, and you're like, damn, like, I'm just trying to get into a vibe.
Yeah. I feel I've had like my friends come over and they've been in like a super rush and they try and like rush things, and I'll just be like, we should take our time with this. Like, we don't have to get it done today. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we can come back later
Like,
and finish this idea or like add on to it. It's not just like you said. You don't put time constraints on creativity. So,
right, because it's like as long as you get a draft in the cement, then the draft will ever be there, so you can add stuff to it. You can take from it. You can even build off of it. That's why it's great. That's like, so when me and Northland link up, we don't start making stuff right away. I play him a couple songs, he plays me a couple beats, and then we'll be like, all right, let's just make something from scratch. Mm-hmm. And we won't finish it. We'll just, all right, this is the draft. He goes home, he tweaks it, and he's like, all right, I'll send it to you within a few days.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the best way to do it too, because you're not trying to force things out of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to just make anything. You wanna make the best thing you can possibly make, best song you can make. So
right, because I'm the type to, while you're making the beat, I'm writing the song as we speak. You can just have a drum and an 808, and I still be writing the song to that.
Yeah, that's kind of how my artist does it. Like, when we do things from scratch, I'll just kind of start the idea, and I'll look over, and he's already on his phone, kind of like putting in the lyrics and everything, or like a rough idea. So I think that's the best way to do it, though, because you get the best song at the end of the day. So
you definitely do.
What do you think, Rome, has been kind of a piece of career advice you've been given by anyone that you kind of have taken to heart, or something that has really helped you out so far?
So, like, I have a lot of, like, music mentors. The guy I used to work with, yes, he was a great music mentor. There's a lot of stuff he, told me that helped me along the way, and that I still apply to myself today. But also, like, I was never a big Wiz Khalifa fan until, like, probably 2 years ago. And then I just literally listened to all of his old shit. And I was just like, damn. He preaches not, you know what I'm saying? He's not just a weed rapper. He doesn't just preach about weed. Mm-hmm. He preaches about grind. Nobody's going to get this for you. Like, you have to go out and hustle no matter the cost, no matter how you do it. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who do it, but it's the way he gives off the message. And it's just like, that helped me find, like, my lane, or, like, how I want it to be with music, because I'm not from the streets. I'm not a trap rapper. I rap totally different than the Atlanta rap scene.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else that you kind of, I don't know, maybe that you listened to, that you drew inspiration from, that you were like, okay, I can kind of implement that in my own way?
Besides the guy I used to work with, and mainly my dad, there's nobody else. I just mainly do this shit off of my own instincts and just push myself, because I look at a lot of success stories and a lot of people who, like, fall down from success, and then I just look at my environment. Like, I don't want to be like a person who tried to do this and didn't do it, or didn't give it 100%, because nobody likes to be where they're at, especially if you see yourself doing something greater in life. Like, you don't see yourself sitting where you're at forever. Like, sometimes I have visions of, like, me on stages with sold out shows, or in, like, beach house mansions, not even mansions, just nice beach houses, or those houses with the view, with the pool and the view of the city.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people that kind of, especially in music too, like, I feel like a lot of people get that confused as, like, they need someone else always to make things happen for them, and they just want to sit back and wait for things to happen. But I think I think your approach is the best approach. Is just like, you should have that much confidence in yourself that you want to do it for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be waiting on people to just come and give you opportunity.
It's like I was explaining to my girl the process of reason why I took this certain route. Mm-hmm. The first album was all right, I'm hitting the ground running, let's see who's rocking with me. The second album is like, all right, boom, we're going to do something different. Let's try to get on some podcasts. Let's try to get on some blogs. Let's try to get some more music videos out there. Let's even try to push some merchandise this year. Like, I did it the first way for a reason, because I wanted to see if, people are still listening to me. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't want to just be known as the guy who was with ROE. Mm-hmm. That's not me, because I'm like, no, that's not me. I want to be known as Rome Westfield. All right, he got dropped, and look at him now. he's doing this shit. Like, I have a concert set up for next year that it just happened. Like, my dad is a part of like this motorcycle club, and he's been in one since I was born. So he approached me with the idea to make them a theme song for this year's event coming up. It was supposed to be this year, but you know, due to Corona, they switched it to next year. And so I made the theme song. They loved it, and I was just like, damn, I didn't know I could do that. So I got me a slot on their showcase in August when the event comes up. So I'm like, that's really exciting. And it's, you know what I'm saying? It's just small goals that I got for myself that are coming true that I'm doing on my own.
I'd say that's probably the most fulfilling thing, though, too, is just, you know, you set out to do this. It was your thing, and you've been able to accomplish what you've kind of been trying to do. So that's awesome. That's probably the best part about it. Do you have any, besides like Wiz and all the other people you might listen to, is there anyone that you'd say would be a dream collaboration that you'd be like, man, I'd love to get this person on a song with me one day?
Man, honestly, Juice WRLD definitely would have been one. Like,
rest in peace.
I idolized his music. Like, he was like, fucking GOAT. But other than him, I would say Trippie Redd, Kyle, of course, Logic, Lil Wayne, 2 Chainz. It's a lot of them. I can't even name them all. There's so many.
That's a lot of great ones, though. Like Juice WRLD, that would have been crazy. Because even on like your last album, you had like Speed Joe and songs like that I feel like those were like Juice WRLD vibes almost. Like that's what I always felt. Like they got the guitar in there and everything with the hip hop drums. Like that would have been fucking crazy. But like I loved Juice's the Death Race for Love album. Like that whole album, I was like, man, this is nice.
And the fact that he freestyled the whole album,
it's crazy. Like, and some of those songs were like 2 or 3 part songs with different beats and everything, and he was just still going. That's impressive as hell. So as far as like where you're from and like local artists, is there anyone that you collab with that you think is really dope, you might want to kind of let people know about?
My homeboy Trail the God is pretty dope artist. He just dropped a song probably like 2 months ago called Southside. And me and him actually have a song on this album that's the song I want to try to release this month if I can get my computer back, if I can get a new computer. If not, I'll definitely release it next month. And then, you know, I got another homeboy named Kenton. He's been doing this since he was like 9 years old.
So he's had a lot of experience then, probably.
Right, and he was the one, like, back in the days when I was really terrible, he was the one saying, like, hey, just let him grow. He'll get better. Just let him grow. And then look at me now.
Yeah, it's like we said, though, you took the time with it, you know what I mean? And, like, you realized when you were older and you were able to, like, actually focus your time on it, then that's how I think you've gotten better, so.
And then being able to find my sound and not having to, like, try to explain my vision to somebody else when it's just like, all right, let me just do it because I can't explain it.
Yeah. That's what I feel like I've had to learn that as well, just in the past like 2 or 3 years. Like trying to get what I wanted to get done through other people wasn't really working, so I was just like, nah, forget that. I'm just gonna do it. I know exactly what I want. So
because it's hard to explain your vision to somebody when you can only explain it by doing it.
Yeah. Because we're the only ones that see it in our head, pretty much. Like no one else really sees it until it happens. So,
exactly.
That's always important. Is there anything as far as like, because I know you said you've done a lot of stuff on your own and everything, so that requires a lot more work. So is there anything like, as far as your time management goes, that's been a struggle, like trying to manage music with everything else in your life, or?
Well, when we weren't doing, stuck in this pandemic, it was because I was working, so it's like it was kind of hard to like manage, get home, make songs. I literally had to stay up like 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning just to finish a song or just to start a song, and then still get up the next day to go to work.
Yeah, it's always a struggle too because everyone has like their own schedules and everything. I know for me, like the days that I have to go to my job, I'll get home and I'll have to I'll be tired and I'm like, damn, I really got to push through though because I still got to make these songs. because like I
Right.
feel like that's more important to me than the job or whatever. But everyone's totally different. So like I know there's people that freaking do like 10 to 10s and shit and have to stay up half the night to
hmm
like continue.
Just to get it done.
Yeah, it's so. I think just keeping like a healthy like schedule for yourself has always helped a little bit for myself.
Yeah.
But some people do it better than others too. Like some people have like they write every single thing down or whatever in their schedule for the week, and they kind of figure out what to do and how to attack what they have to get done. But as long as you have like a great like thing going now, I'd say that's
Right, and then it definitely helps because I actually already have my own team. I've always had my own team. Even with or without the label, I've always had my own team. It's just a group of guys that I used to skate with from back in the day, and some of them do photography, some of them do videography, and we all look out for each other. If they need something, I got them. If I need something, they got me.
Is that who did your photo shoot in the spring?
That is my friend Bud.
Yeah, those are nice photos. I was going to tell you about that because I know I saw the album cover and then you put out like some promo shots and I was like, damn, these look really good. Like even your Spotify has like your artist profile picture looks really good and like professionally done and everything. So that's awesome.
And he's also the one who shot the promo video for September's Very Young.
Dope. I'll have to. Are they on social media and everything? Like,
they are. His name is @Bud. It's B. I think it's underscore first. @_BVDS.
I'll have to go check him out. See if he has any other work on there. So I know you were talking about like money issues earlier in the episode. Is there anything recently that's been, as far as like devoting certain amount of funds to music, that's been kind of an issue, or have you been able to kind of have a good balance with that?
Normally, I'm able to have a good balance, but with upgrading my equipment, I'm really just trying to find like places to like get me on to like more playlists. But I'm very picky because it's hard to trust people, and it's hard to find a good solid playlist to like, all right, boom, I'll get some results from here.
The playlist thing, especially like the Spotify thing, is just fuck. I don't even know what to say about it because there's so many that are just like, pay $20 and we'll put you in this, and then like they put you in with like a million other songs, and the discoverability isn't as high as you would want.
It's not, and they don't promote it. They just like, all right, we're just gonna add you. Yeah, that's it.
I've seen so many things like that, and I still get like spam emails from shit like that. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. So
right, I canceled a lot of that shit. I was like, no, I'm gonna figure this out, but it's not gonna be that way.
I know for artists like yourself, like I feel like they pursue that a lot more, and it's very important because we're in the streaming like age, and like that's how we figure out. Like when I go on Spotify, I'm checking out like Release Radar, the daily mixes, to find new music, like because they'll add shit in there. So like as an artist, you want to aim for to get that done, but it's so hard right now to actually have that like be effective. Like I know like I use DistroKid to like distribute my stuff and everything. They have like a playlist where you can like spin the wheel and it gives you your place in the playlist. The problem
I think that is totally stupid. I tried that once, and I was like, that shit is stupid.
The problem with that is like they'll rank you at like, say you spin 101. They're gonna rank you at 101. Then someone else spins 101 and you're out already and you're done.
Right.
So like, what is the point of doing? What is the point?
Exactly. What is the point of me even spinning this wheel if I'm not even going to stay on this playlist?
Like, is that like the most free thing that they have? Is like, we'll put you in here until someone else spins your number, and then you're kicked out again. And it's also interesting to me. I've only really seen like Spotify as the primary playlist thing. Like, there is Apple Music stuff. It feels like that's not really like.
Right. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of like Apple Music playlist stuff going on.
It's kind of weird. Streaming is just a freaking mess. Like they got to get on top of that somehow.
Right, like I get more streams on Apple Music than I do on Spotify.
Yeah, I don't know, and like everybody's payouts are different, and everybody's like rules are kind of different, and even like with DistroKid, because I know me and you both use DistroKid, so DistroKid I've heard really good things and I've heard really bad things. I've heard like someone tried to put their album on at a certain time, and it didn't go to all the platforms at a certain time, and people have had like issues getting all their
Right.
money and everything. I haven't experienced any issues yet, but
Neither have I.
fingers crossed. But that's another thing too, is like the distributors. How are they communicating with the streaming platforms? Like, we don't even know how any of this stuff is happening. So,
Right. Because I know when I set up my releases, I set them up to be simultaneously, so they all come out at the same time.
Yep. I've heard even people like, you just check all the boxes, and there's still people that are like, well, they didn't put it here on this date, and they didn't update this. And I'm like, I really don't know. And like, it's hard to kind of pinpoint what's going on for us, because we don't know. We don't even see what's actually happening behind the scenes.
Right. We just see them. All right. It's in this store. It's in that store. It's in that store. We're just like, all right, cool, great.
We just pay our fee and just that's it. So that's crazy. But I just hope things kind of move in a better direction with streaming. I've kind of mentioned it in other episodes that like streaming's just not in a spot where it's able to generate what we need as artists, in my opinion. I don't think it's in a great place. And I know
it's definitely not. Especially when they saw, if you've seen the payout brackets of like each streaming platform, and you're looking like, damn, you really don't make shit off streaming.
Yeah. And it's so crazy to think about, because you would and again, this is where I think like the disconnect between like fans and artists is like, a fan, if you went to a fan and told them that, they'd be like, there's no fucking way, that doesn't make sense. Like, I thought the whole point of us streaming was to help artists and this
make money.
This. But like, if they only knew like what it actually was, it's crazy.
Right, that's like when I heard J. Cole talking about touring. He was like, you make most of your money off touring. Like, you don't, streaming ain't shit. Yeah. All the money comes from touring.
It's the complete opposite of what you would think. Like merch sales, touring, all that other shit. Like for producers, they do like sound kits and all the other stuff they try to sell. Like, you get money off that too. So I don't know. I wish it would just kind of even out a little more as far as how we can monetize our music, and like, if we really want to do it as a career, we need to be able to at least make enough to continue like funding what we need to do. So
exactly, because this shit is not cheap. Like, especially software upgrades. So when you're doing this shit by yourself, like Pro Tools and Logic and shit like that, can just cost $200 off the bat.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just a disconnect between like the people running these businesses and things, because they really are business people at the end of the day. They have to make money for their companies and stuff. I get it. But like, there needs to be some type of understanding between the two sides, instead of just everyone kind of out for themselves, I guess. I don't know. So you're independent right now, Rome. You're doing your own thing and everything. How important has that been to you to be able to own everything you do creatively and kind of just push exactly what you're trying to do?
It's very important, because I don't have to run ideas by anybody but myself. I get outside opinions, but I know these outside opinions are going to tell me the truth. But it's very important, because I can maneuver the way I want to maneuver without somebody over my shoulder like, why did you do that? Or you shouldn't do that. Because that's one of the things that I really hated. Like, I don't like, you have a vision, I have a vision. My vision is not your vision. So let me pursue it the way I want to. Like, if I have to market myself, then I might as well be by myself.
I think, too, that's another thing, is, like, as far as people wanting to get signed or, like, wanting to be involved in certain, like, label deals and things, there might not be the understanding that there's going to be other hands in the pot, pretty much. People are going to try and tell you how this goes and whatnot, and, like, I've said before, like, certain situations I feel like they'll work for you if you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. But if you want to be, like, a real artist and have all of the pieces and, like, all the chips on your side of the table, I would just say just be independent, because it's way easier than dealing with all of that.
Right, and then, you know, I'm very big on an organic fan base. I don't do the robotic shit. I need to know that my people fuck with me.
Yeah.
Like, I need to know if I put out a song, they're going to go listen. If I'm at a show, they're going to show up. If I need people for videos, they're going to pull up. Like, I need to know that shit.
Because at the end of the day, that's who's going to keep it going is the fans. So if you don't have real
Right.
fans, why are you even doing any of this? Like, just kind of doesn't make any
That's
sense.
like,
at
and
all.
then if you died, then they're just like, oh, he died.
Yeah.
You don't have people like, oh, damn, he was dope, or I remember this song, I remember when this dropped, and that organic fan base is really, like, that's your strong suit, especially if you can build a cult following. Like, I know X had a cult following, Juice has a cult following, Lil Peep had one, and so does Trippie Redd. They all have cult following, so it's where as soon as they drop, their people are going to fucking listen.
And that's word of mouth, too, because a lot of these fans, like, they really push hard for these artists, too. Like, and they have nothing to do with them personally. They probably never met them, but they're such huge fans of their work that they're just like, man.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. They treat them like they fucking know them personally. Like, you could tell if you talk shit about somebody's favorite, they will go the back. Like, you don't understand. This dude did this, and you're just like, dude, you don't even know him.
Yeah.
You just listen to his music. You think you know him. You don't know him at all.
Some of the fans are crazy. I'll say that about certain artists, but for the artist, I think it's a good thing to have, like, because you have that group of people that are gonna vouch for you, kind of every step of the way, almost.
Right, and then if they're in conversations with whoever they're in conversations with, they're always like, "No, don't forget about what's his name." They'll put you in that conversation.
Yep. It's like a top 10 rappers list. They'll be like so and so, but don't forget about this guy, because
And then people will be like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Nah, go listen, and you'll understand what I'm talking about."
Oh, that's hilarious. Only got a few more questions for you, Rome, and then we'll get out of here. If you could go back 10 years ago and maybe like give yourself advice or anything, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Honestly, I think I would have went with my first instincts, and I probably wouldn't have signed with that label. Because I had, right before I signed, I started my DistroKid account. And I just didn't do it. But I was like, dang, I probably should have just kept doing this on my own. And I probably would have still been where I'm at. It would have took some time, but it would have been worth it.
So if you could go 10 years from now, where do you think you want to be? In music or in life? Or both?
Oh, shit. 10 years from now? I'm not going to say I want to be in the conversations of top 5, but I want to at least be getting ready to go towards those conversations 10 years from now. Where, like, dang, he came out the South, he did it, he did this. You know what I'm saying? Also be a man of the people, get back to the community.
Well, I think you got the mentality to do it, man, so I can just tell just from, like, your responses today, like, I feel like you have just the work ethic and the ability to get it done, so where can fans find you on social media?
You said, where can they find me on social media?
Yep.
At Rome Westfield everywhere. It's literally at Rome Westfield on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The only thing that's different is my Snapchat. That's Chaos the Skater. That was very my first Snapchat. And it just, once you make Snapchat, it never changes.
Yep. I made one and never used it, so I don't even remember what my handle is on Snapchat. But any final words of wisdom today?
I would just say believe in yourself and grind hard, because I came from where I had the work ethic, but I didn't have the music to back it up. Now I have both. It just takes time. Never lose sight of the vision, and always pace yourself. You're running your own race. As in the words of Nip, you're running your own marathon.
Very well said, man. So I wish you luck, Rome. Obviously, me and you are going to keep working. I'm going to keep sending you ideas and everything. Looking forward to this album, because you've been sharing some stuff with me and everything, and looking forward to hearing.
Oh man, this shit is gonna. I can't wait to release it. The vibe is totally different from the first album. People are gonna be like, "Damn, he really changed a lot of sounds. He really went in a different direction."
Well, man, I'm looking forward to hearing it, because I loved the first album and everything, and I was happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to, be able to work with you at all, because you're a very talented artist. And
thank you.
Like I said, I wish you luck in everything you got going, and hopefully we can do this again sometime. Hopefully we'll be working in person soon, so looking forward to all of it, man.
Right, same here, man.
Thank you guys for listening today. That was episode 22. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit that support button if you want to send funds our way. It all goes toward making the podcast better, getting better guests, getting new faces. Well, not really faces, you can't see them, but new names on the show every week. But like I said, until next time, thanks a lot.